Shalom, shalom. First off, I would like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakah Kadash, and also to my elders of GMS who taught me this truth. Shalom to them, and shalom to you brothers that's scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Shalom to you brothers that's teaching this gospel, teaching this word with all sincerity and diligency. Shalom to you brothers, and yeah, the government shutdown just happened, this morning, whatever, 12 a.m. So we're now in the government shutdown, and yeah, this place is done. Like, this place is just it's been done for a little minute now, but now it's just it's at its end now. It's at its end. You know what I mean? And you know, Trump is threatening, saying that, hey, listen, there's going to be some layoffs because of this whole shutdown, and a lot of people are going to be without jobs, and shit is just heading down the pipeline. You know what I mean? They're just going to get worse. Yeah, they can probably likely create a new spending bill that's like a short term spending bill that's only going to last about 3, 4, 5 months until the shit shuts down again. But this is this country is just it's gone to hell now. It's gone to hell, and Babylon is just gone to hell, and it's just there's no rest here. There's no rest. There's no certainty here. You know what I mean? You have people that a lot of especially Jake women that work for fucking the government and shit. Those post office jobs, and those I'm trying to think what other jobs they usually hold in those. Those like the military and all that stuff, and those different positionings. Those now you asked out now. You know what I mean? Now you're going to be working with they're working basically not getting paid. So this lets you know this is not our rest, and this is not a place where you can thrive in, and you can live a decent lifestyle. For the average person, you know what I mean? That's tax paying, and law-abiding citizen, and do all the things that they're supposed to do. But the government don't take care of the citizens that's doing what they're supposed to do. You know what I mean? This place is just fucking evil, man. It's just so evil, and people are gonna work, thinking that, this happens, and all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna work, without pay, whatever, until I can't do it no more, and then then I can't show up for work, whatever, or I'm gonna have to find something else, or find another job, or whatever, But this place is finished. This place is finished, and there's no hope. There's no future here. You know what I mean? There's no. You know what I mean? There's no. You know what I mean? Like even with the whole 401k, and people have that have been in these jobs for some years now, working in the government, and they might put in 20, 30, 25, 30 years, within the government, and now they like, oh well, hey, listen, the funding bill, whatever, we didn't have no money to fund the government, whatever, so you're gonna be laid off for a little while. You know what I mean? And then a lot of people are just having their hopes up and having their faith in the government. You know what I mean? The scriptures talk about that, having faith in Egypt and going down to Egypt for help. You know what I mean? And trusting in this devil to bail you out, or to do something for you, or to, get you out of a jam. Our people, they would never rebel against this fucking wicked ass system. You know what I mean? They would never turn their backs on this wicked ass system. Yeah, now you have some people that, say, hey man, you know what? This government, this is fucked up, you know what I mean? And how they, some people know the truth. They know it. You know what I mean? They know that this government don't give a shit about us, as the people, that pay their taxes, and, like I said, law-abiding citizens, and, do what they're supposed to do as far as the government goes, and as far as this country goes, but they don't reciprocate that back. They don't take care of the people. They don't make sure the people is good. You know what I mean? You know, and hey, who knows how long this gonna be now going for? You know what I mean? They said the last time this happened was back in 2018, going to 2019, and it lasted what 35 days or something like that. From I think what I read, that's about for 35 days, and this was when Trump was in. This was around his first term, so now this is his second term, and you know, like I said, the shadow government, these elites, whatever, they're getting ready to implode this economy, and gear up for the to push out for this push this MOTB out, and collapse this current the current dollar that we use, the current system that we're using right now. They're going to collapse this, and then they're going to introduce the MOTB sooner or later. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this is going to be like the prelude to it, the government shutdown. It could be. We're not sure. This is the Lord's movie, and the Lord can do what He wants. But but it damn sure can well happen. But I'm not saying that can happen due to the government shutdown. They can do it. They have other ways they can shut this economy down, and that's why I said this. This is why we don't put our faith in Egypt. We don't put our faith in this goddamn forsaken country, man. Babylon the Great, What has this place ever done for us, But put us on cargo slave ships, and put us on the auctioning blocks, and the trade market, the markets up in New York, the stock markets, and bidding on us, and have us have us as slaves, unpaid slaves, and now we're slaves to this goddamn these corporations and these jobs and in the government, depending on our jobs and to be there and to be secured, and the government being there and securing us and securing us with a job. Now jobs are not certain now, especially working in the government, and having a government job is supposed to be like a great thing, because that is so hard to get into government jobs and shit like that. You know what I mean? They make you go do so much testing and fucking all kind of shit, like qualifications, all that shit. You know what I mean? That you have to qualify to meet those standards to work in whatever branch of branch of government. So so this is it, man. This is it, And even if, like I said, even if they come with a little small, like, not guarantee they will. They gonna come up with some bullshit ass temporary spending bill, whatever, and have everything look like it's going back to normal, and people are just gonna go right back to sleep. You know what I mean? Like they always do. So this, this is not our rest. This is not our rest, and we shouldn't be putting our faith in this fucking place and thinking that we're gonna, live good, and have some sort of retirement when everything is said and done, and we're gonna live the rest of our lives just, living good, and just having some type of nest egg in this place, and some type of benefits when it's all said and done. You know what I mean? And people that have children and stuff like that, families, leaving them something behind when you pass away, and so, you know what I mean? That place is no more. That place is no more. This is done, man. It's a wrap. You know what I mean? And I just prayed, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, this place be destroyed at this point, because there's no rest here. There's no comfortability. There's no certainty. There's no relief. There's nothing. There's nothing. It's just pain, struggle. Just what I mean? Just vexation. Of the spirit. And people are mad right now. People are fucking vexed, and they're mad, and they're pissed off, and they don't, You know, people are struggling. People are struggling to put food in the house and pay their bills and, and pay their rent and shit like that. And now you have people now, especially a lot of chicks, like I said, that work in the government. You know, they now they have uncertainty now. Now you're going to work, not getting paid now. Thinking, okay, well, you know what? Hey, listen, this is just temporary, whatever. One of these days, whatever, they're going to come with a spending bill, whatever, and it's going to go right back to normal and things are going to be okay again. You know what I mean? Why do you have to live like that? We should never have to live like that. You know? But, I'm going to bring out the scripture, close out. Lord willing, this be edifying. Okay. This is Ecclesiasticus 12:4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the doors of music shall be brought low. That's right. There's not going to be no opportunities out here no more. There's not going to be any refuge and peace of mind. You know what I mean? That's all going to be taken away. Once people can't work and, there's no money coming in, they can't get food and they can't, buy the necessary necessities and to live and get by, can't feed their families, can't pay their rent, can't pay their car note, can't pay their whatever other bills they have, when life becomes uncomfortable now. People are gonna lash out now. People are gonna lash out, especially if this lasts for a little minute. You're gonna see crime rates go up. Possibly. You know what I mean? Like, this. We'll see what happens though. Like I said, they probably gonna come up with some bullshit ass spending bill, whatever temporary shit, and it's gonna go right back to what is already happening right now. But things is heating up. Things are turning up, though. You know what I mean? So, this shit probably go back to normal, go back to what it was doing. But you still got the wars and rumors of wars, and you have, sedition amongst men. People are rising up, against the government and just showing their displeasure against these higher ups. You know what I mean? So, especially Trump in office. A lot of people can't stand him. So people are voicing their opinions and lashing out. You know what I mean? And rising up. I think they have the whole Antifa shit going on in Portland, Oregon. So they sent, I believe they sent some troops out there, whatever, to kind of handle things and try to put things, more, probably, calm things over there. But, people are lashing out now. People are lashing out. You got ICE everywhere now. You know what I mean? So it's just trouble and just turmoil all over. You know what I mean? And people are vexed. People are angry. People are suffering. And that's just going to lead to Jacob's trouble after a while. Like the scriptures talk about, that the woman in travail being having those birth pains. Birth pains are constantly those contractions are getting more worse by the day, by the week, by the month, until she just breaks. And that's when all hell breaks loose, But with that, Lord willing, this be edifying. Until next time, Shalom.